You're listening to Pregame Podcast.
Welcome to the Pregame Podcast. I'm your host, Austin.
And I'm your other host, Jake.
Together, we're going to be delving into all things pregame on this podcast. It's going to be great. We're going to talk to all your favorite celebrities. We're going to talk to all your favorite people. We're going to do lots of interviews, share memories. It's going to be a great podcast for all things pregame. So definitely tune in the future because more episodes will be coming out after this one. Alright, so Pregame Feast, that's the whole focus of this. We started a while ago, of course. And you were the actually the original founder.
Yeah, so this was probably, September 2021?
Yeah.
Almost coming up like a year and a half now. So I remember from our band teacher, right?
Right.
He decided to have the rehearsals at 5:30. So from when school ends around 3 o'clock all the way to 5:30, there's absolutely nothing to do on campus.
Exactly. And that's where the first idea sprouted.
So I was like, we should have a food or a get together or something that'd be fun and we just kind of waste time. So the first one I was with Austin and
that's me.
I remember I sent him a photo. I'll put it, it'll come up on the screen of a photo of Twizzlers, right? That was the first pregame, the only pregame food. The first food we ever had.
And those were straight from the vending machine too, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Vending machine classic.
Premium quality.
So I mean, East Coast vending machine company.
Yeah, so that was our first pregame feast. We had it at the picnic tables just outside of the library. And I remember we had one, it was the two of us and then one other person.
First it was Fisher joined in after his lesson. And
right.
Then, while trying to talk to us, our friend who's only been in that pregame feast, Caden, joined in.
Right.
So all of us were talking, we were playing classical music and eating.
And I remember at a recent pregame, when we did one of those trivia rounds, there was a question about him, actually.
Oh yeah, this pregame feast this feaster showed up at one feast. In fact, the first feast, and never came back. And that was him still.
Yeah. So pregame feast started out pretty small, but it grew fast from there. It grew quick.
Oh wow! I mean, I'm going to try to find a photo from the second pregame feast. I mean,
right.
It quadrupled.
So, obviously, it's football game season. So, every few Fridays, or almost sometimes every Friday, we would have a football game. And that's when we would do the pregame feast, hence the name. And every week, it just got better and better. Yes, I think the next one, we had live musicians.
Yeah, we had... let's see. We had one trumpet player. Shout out Liam.
Oh,
You'll see him in the upcoming episode.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
And then, what was the other person? Oh, wow. So we had...
So I think we had Noah come in first on cello.
Noah, and then Ethan, then Changwin, then Joe.
Right.
So that was 4 different cellos, and then I think one violin. I forgot who played violin.
I remember they were playing Pachelbel's Canon.
That's what it was, yeah.
And then that's actually, I think, the one where we first got attention on the school broadcast.
That was the first and only time.
Right, so we got Cash to come in. We might interview him on a future episode, so stay tuned. And we got him to do a broadcast segment for Pregame Feast, and it appeared as the intro first thing on the Tuesday broadcast announcements.
Yeah, it was, I mean, that's when we had crackers and cheese, and now we have full-on pizzas and
exactly. And I think that's when we started getting our sights on some celebrity guests. If we wanted to grow the feast, we needed to get some important people. So I think one of our first ideas was to have Dave Portnoy come in and cater for us pizza.
That was, in fact, the first person we tried to get at Pregame Feast was Dave Portnoy. I've tweeted at him at Barstool Presidente.
Yeah, make sure you guys follow the official Pregame Twitter account, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It's at Pregame_Feast, capital PGF, and all of those.
Yep.
Yeah, so the bio says, home of the Pregame Feast, trying to get Mayor Kun to have a private concert, or School Presidente to do a pizza review with us, active athletes and percussionists.
And I think we also tried to get someone to helicopter in some pizza, but that didn't work. But Fisher even made a call to a helicopter company to see if they could actually do the service, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, we tried. It didn't work out, but we tried.
But then I think we did get our first major celebrity guest appearance, which was Rutherford, Chaplain Rutherford.
Oh yeah, we told him about it. I mean, very start of this school year, and ever since he's been coming to all of them in his Jeep.
Yeah, it's been great. He was really excited. You know, he was just joined the school and wanted to get to know everyone, and it was a perfect opportunity for him. And then we had our first celebrity guest, and I remember we made him sign a Domino's pizza menu after the first feast he attended. Is that correct?
That is correct. I don't know where it is. It's
somewhere. We'll find it somewhere.
Just so you know, I think I took it out of my locker before the hurricane hit, right?
Right.
And then they locked all of them, so I didn't use my locker anymore.
Right.
So it's either in my locker that's locked, or it's in my room somewhere, or in the old backpack.
Yeah, I hope we can find that again. That's a pretty important piece of paper. It was pretty
I have to auction it off and sell it on eBay.
Oh, totally. Yeah, so then I remember we had more and more people come into the feast. We originally were just at the picnic tables over by the library, and then we moved under the big covering area, pavilion by the library, and the picnic tables. And that's when it started to ramp up. I know Cash brought his famous giant speaker that time and played Mayor Coon. And we had lots of bananas supplied by Isaac. Rutherford was there. And that's when Charlie brought his spaghetti and meatballs. His classic spaghetti and meatballs.
And then really don't forget, this is also when Liam brought his... So this is his first pizza he brought. And he also brought his lava cakes.
Yeah, those were really good. Yeah, but we all know Liam's infamous when it comes to pregame and pizza. And maybe we're going to have a special guest interview about that in a future episode. So stay tuned. We'll cover a little bit of that today. But then, so I think that was the last major pregame over at the picnic tables. And that's when those bees were really starting to, take over that area. So I have let me give you guys a big breakdown, basically. Our school has a major bee problem where every 6 months, just the population of India and bees comes over to our school and just starts attacking everybody and everybody's food. Right. It's a common issue. Certainly. It is. So that's what sort of inspired us. You know, pregame's getting better and better each time. How can we make this even better, and how can we get away from these bees? And that's about the time we discovered our current pregame location, the parking lot out in the field. Yes. So this is also used for the cross-country team. Shout out cross-country team. Yep. So they run around that whole They run around that whole field, and in the middle of it is like a huge tree island. Right. So as a tradition, I didn't go there. I had to hold down the fort. But I know Austin and a few other people, Rohan, went out there. Made a voyage around the island. Yeah, a little field trip. Yeah, so that was our first pregame out in the field, where we actually took cars over the field and parked and took tables and had the speaker. And then since we weren't near the school, we could really get excited over there. And that's when it started to get really awesome. And of course, Rutherford came in his Jeep. So I was talking to, what was it? Oh, I'm looking at photos right now. So this was October 21st, right? So this is not right. This was the homecoming game, right? So this is when the homecoming game's I think this is for every high school that everybody goes to, right? This is the one game that everybody goes to. Yeah, this is the football. Big one. And so Pregame Feast needed to be big. So I'm counting right now. And that's when we moved to the field. So we had about 20 to 25 people looking at the photo of a guest that we had at the Pregame Feast for the homecoming. That was one of our first really major ones. That's when it was getting really great. Looking at it at the table, so we had Publix cookies, we had different kinds of chips and pretzels, we had pizza, graciously donated by Liam. Of course. And then we also had, don't forget, my popcorn chicken, the donuts, we had a lot of stuff. Yeah, that was really good. Everyone was bringing food. Of course, everyone knows the pregame rules. There's a defining set of pregame rules that everyone has to follow. And of course, the iconic one is you can't eat anything if you don't bring food yourself. And we've had...
That's like the golden rule.
Yeah, it is a golden rule. And we've had some cases where there's been pregame pirates, both at the original location and at the field. And that's also part of what made us decide to go to the field, to get farther away from them. But do you remember when we first started having that problem?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I want to say last year, we had a problem at the very end that people were asking for food walking around.
Exactly. Because it was starting to garner a lot of attention.
I was trying to allow it, give somebody, a slice or two, but it got so out of hand that we just couldn't do it. So we had to put a mandatory law.
And that's when we started having people trying to come up and take it stealthily.
Yeah.
It got pretty
they were
pretty risky.
I know, I'm surprised no blood was shed. I mean,
I know, right?
It got bad.
Yeah, and we even had that problem still, obviously much less, but once we moved to the field, we still had some pirates. I remember there was that one time when we saw a few pirates coming up from over, from the entrance to the field. And then I think we had someone run out waving our signature Flavortown flag, right?
Oh, yeah. So I think I gave that to Charlie. So shout out to his spaghetti meatballs. But, so he went over there and I think a few other people to investigate, and there were 4 or 5 kids over there expecting food, hiding behind bushes. So,
right.
I don't know what type of guerrilla warfare they're doing to try to steal a cheese sandwich, but it didn't really work out.
And I think we originally didn't want them to come over, but then we had a few of them come over and they ended up getting a few bits of food, I think. Or at least they joined the festivities. But anyways, thinking back on the topic of the pregame rules, obviously that's the main one. You can't eat if you don't bring food. But it's in our official rule book. It's if thou wish to feast, thou shalt bringeth a treat or trinket. But there's also a lot of other rules that are just as important, but sort of go under the radar. For instance, we have, if thine litter remains on the feasting ground, thou shalt not be longer around. And that's a pretty good one. We want to make sure we clean up after ourselves. But then here, rule number 3, each vessel guest is above the rest, and shall not be demanded to submit to any request. So that goes for our celebrity guests, who are the only exception. They don't have to bring food themselves to eat, because there are celebrity guests.
It's facts. I'm trying to think what else there is.
Do you have any favorite celebrity guests we've had? Because obviously, we've had a lot of celebrity guests show up to pregame. We've had Chaplain Porter, we've had Mr. Slauson, we've had Mr. Bailey, we've had Steve Harold, we've had all sorts of people come. Even Jared Jones.
Yeah, I mean, very controversial on Twitter, but not controversial in real life.
Right.
He's up there. We had Andrew Tate. I mean, controversial.
Yeah.
Joel Osteen, controversial. But I mean, me and Austin were in the talks with the former governor of Indiana, Mike Pence. It didn't work out, but we had it. It was almost in the bag.
That would have been a big one.
That would have been a big one. I think Steve Harold's up there. Ooh.
We also had the pickle soda commit.
We did have the pickle soda. I think the best one to go is our, I think the best one in my opinion is our sedimentology teacher, Mr. Allen.
Oh, Mr. Allen. He's a classic. And actually more on him later this episode. But anyways, speaking of the ringleader, what's some of your favorite pregame foods that we've had from all of these events? There's obviously some classic foods.
Ooh. I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you. Everything's good, right?
Definitely. One that stands out to me is the ringleader.
Oh, so I'll give you a little backstory on that. That's my celebrity item, right?
Right.
I've always brought a ringleader for the past year and a half almost. I mean, this was I think 3rd pregame feast. I brought one.
Yeah, I can remember the excitement everyone would have when ringleader was committed to a feast.
Oh, wow. I mean, that was I couldn't even get into school. They were all grabbing for the sandwiches.
Right. And then there was also that giant crate of mustard that came with each one. And you know what we did with that.
It was a pint of mustard, right?
Right, a pint of mustard.
So it was regular mustard, and then it was spicy. So, I'm not a big fan of any kind of mustard.
Right.
Unless it's honey mustard with my chicken
Especially
tenders.
that much mustard. But
especially,
there's someone who is a big fan of That Much Mustard, and that's Mr. Slauson. So we always gifted him our pint of mustard after the feasts with the ringleaders.
Yes, it was. I think it's still in the teacher's fridge at the moment.
Right.
I mean, it's been
definitely. It's probably Locker 221 style molding in there. But you also
sure.
brought a lot of iconic foods and beverages. You brought the vodka bottles of water. That was iconic. The glass bottles.
So yeah, that was basically, if you think about it, our first sponsor. That was my dad's company in Spain, Australia, Galicia. They produce mostly beer and different kinds of wine, but they started making their own water company. But it's the glass, and the bottles are, instead of being plastic, they're all glass, and they're heavy glass. So, I mean, you could probably drop it from the Empire State Building rack, right?
Exactly.
It's like a Crown Royal. It's like a Crown Royale bottle.
Yeah.
So
those were iconic. I still have it in my bedroom.
Oh wow. Yeah. So those are like one of the top items. I mean, everybody started to pretend to be crazy with them.
Yes.
I remember that.
And then we do have many other pregame tales. Those are going to be in our next episode, so stay tuned for a lot of those pregame memories. But one important part of the pregame feast that we can touch on here is the awards. So we obviously have like a lot of games like the trivia and races, stuff like that. You know, we always have like physical games, balls out at the feast. But those awards, those iconic awards, you want to tell us a bit about how those came to fruition, the photo awards.
Okay. So my chemistry teacher, Dr. Murmur, he has a photo on his Twitter of him at the very top of the Super Bowl, of him holding his hand out and kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like a Christ the Redeemer type pose.
And I remember I originally found that photo, and then I turned it into a little a Photoshop of him outside of a Minecraft diamond house. And then that kind of spiraled into making a lot more of those photos, which ended up getting framed and physically printed out.
So yeah, I saw that and I thought it was funny. So I edited it, right? I edited this same photo out, and I put, I'm just trying to think what the first photo is. I mean, I just put it on every historical event besides a few that could really trigger some not so happy people. But I mean, I have it on. I have to find. I'm finding it right now. My images.
It was actually at our senior pregame feast where we handed out most of those framed photos as prizes for the grand trivia game we had, talking about all sorts of pregame memories and topics, and that was really fun. We had all the seniors line up, and we took pictures with their awards, because that was actually their last official pregame feast they would attend. There is going to be a spring pregame at the end of this year, and I know some seniors are going to be attending, but they'll have already graduated at that point.
Yeah, so you'll be the next on the block, basically, if you think about it. So, I mean, I have photos of Murmur outside of the moon landing.
Right, that's a classic, and that's actually in his classroom now.
I hid it and framed it in his classroom. So, if you find it, take a photo, send it to me. You get $5 pregame dollars.
Add us on the pregame Twitter with your photo of that picture if you find it.
I have the Great Circus Fire. I forgot what city.
Exactly.
Him with Archduke Ferdinand, him at Pregame Feast, him at the March on Washington, and then there's the Mexican-American War.
There's the one, of course, of Americoon, which was the Americoon Award that I received actually in the senior pregame, and I still have that. It's in my car, right next to the ginger wig.
Oh yeah, I mean it matches me.
Yeah, and of course, speaking of Americoon, he's such an iconic part of our pregame traditions. Do you want to explain how you first came about this Nigerian singer?
Okay, so this is a really funny story. So I've been following these scam baiters kind of on YouTube called Trilogy Media, and they during the summerish of 2021 they did a bunch of scammers because there was old footage from COVID, right?
Right.
So they would do everything digitally. So all these fake job ads and like emails pretending to be from the UN were all linked to the Lagos, Nigeria area, right?
Right.
So I kept bringing up references and stuff into classes and everything. So Lagos was like the big thing. So we were talking about Lagos, Nigeria, Lagos news, stuff like that. And
at one point, you looked up like who's the mayor of Lagos, right? And
Yeah.
I remember this guy came up, the mayor of Lagos. He came up, first search results, and it was like this young, like, pop singer. And it was the funniest thing ever because we thought he was actually the mayor of Lagos. And of course, we came to realize he's not actually the real mayor later on, but it was really funny at first. And that's kind of what drew our attention to him.
And he had like all designer brand and everything. So we were like, no way this guy's the mayor flexing all of this designer clothes. But
we realized he was a musical artist, and we listened to one of his songs and realized, like, really quickly, okay, this guy, all of his songs are fire. They're so good. And the main one we found was, of course, Sope.
So this was on one of his first albums, I think in 2018, 2019. So I guess he was known then for that song, but the beat of it is really good. So we were like,
Definitely.
wow, this is good. We don't know what he's saying, but
Yep.
the beat and everything is really good. So we're like, wow, this is very catchy. So, I mean, that was like an active volcano. I mean,
Exactly.
Everybody started singing Sope, and it was kind of cool.
It was really
liked it.
good. And so, yeah, all of his songs kind of became an icon of the Pregame Feast and all that stuff that happened to us. Yeah, so definitely there's a lot of fun memories there with pregame. And actually there's so many more pregame memories and topics that we'll discuss that we can't fit all into one episode. There's going to be many more episodes to come. Like, stay tuned. We're going to be interviewing Liam about his whole pizza story. That's a really fun one. You don't want to miss that. And also, we're going to be interviewing Isaac in the future, our pregame treasurer, about all of the work he's done for Pregame Feast. But for now, we're going to move our attention over to like a semi-different topic. It's still pregame related, but not directly about the feast, because we have some real interesting stuff to talk about. Seafood Atlantic.
You're listening to Pregame Podcast.
Right, so Seafood Atlantic.
This is like this. Well, first off, if you go to the Port Canaveral, that is the staple. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's an iconic restaurant, but that's not how we first got onto the topic of Seafood Atlantic. And it all came from a school broadcast that our very own Cash did a segment in Port Canaveral, and this was an infamous broadcast segment. I remember everyone was dying laughing because he interviewed a man called Jim Bussey. And of course, we all know Jim Bussey. He's iconic at this point. Jake, you want to explain a little bit about how his broadcast infamous segment came to be infamous?
So during that, in the background of the interview, which was about a minute to a minute and a half long, he was talking about how you can sell fish to him, but you'll need a license, right?
Right.
But in the background, while he was explaining it, you could hear it sounded like a blender filled with ice, and then you tried to blend it.
Yep.
So it was basically, and then like an ice maker going off at the same time. So you were just getting all this
blasted with noise.
Hi, my name's Jim Bussey, owner of Seafood Atlantic out here in Port Canaveral, and I've been asked a question to explain the positive side of commercial fishing for the little guys. Okay, cutlass fish, to name a few.
It was already funny that this guy's name is Jim Bussey. It was just pretty funny. But, the terrible audio in the auditorium from the speakers, you could barely hear what this guy was saying. And all you could hear was just, someone slamming a fish on a table, in the background, or, ice pouring everywhere, just, heavy machinery and, yelling in the background. It was ear-deafening. It was hilarious. So, that was definitely a memorable experience. And then then we were able to get the Jim Bussey interview from Cash, the actual video of it. And so Jim Bussey kind of became iconic. And even recently, we've made a flag of Jim Bussey. You want to explain about that one?
Yeah, so Jim Bussey, we were So we'll never forget about him. We should put Jim Bussey somewhere. And I was thinking like photos, like a framed photo.
Definitely.
Well, foreshadowing, the Jim Bussey Award may appear.
Yep. Keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Yeah, be on the lookout. But I made a flag. So there's this custom flag shop that does one side. You can pick like double-sided flags, everything like that. So I picked a one-sided flag, and it's custom. You can custom whatever you want. So I put a photo of the Jim Bussey guy outside of Seafood Atlantic. So you can see the Seafood Atlantic sign, and then on the top left corner just says Jim Bussey.
Big bold letters. It's really an iconic flag at this point. I mean, pregame, we have like such a big connection to all these hilarious flags that we fly. And so for Jim Bussey himself to be on one of these flags, it was just perfect.
Oh, yeah. So
we definitely want to plan a trip to Seafood Atlantic ourselves to go meet him. That's definitely in our future.
That is the one thing we have to do before the school year ends.
It's going to be a great event when it happens.
Oh, yeah. We will get some footage as well of it happening. I also was looking around the website, so I'm going to actually share with you a few things I found. So, Seafood Atlantic, right? So, when I first saw it, when he was first explaining the everything going on, right? It turns out, I know you could sell fish, but I thought they would just like cook it instantly and, sell it to the person ordering the certain fish, right?
Right.
But it turns out it's actually inside of it is also a market.
Really?
So it's like let's say a Publix. You know how the Publix has the seafood, the fresh seafood?
Yeah, so it's like a whole fish market in there.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
Some restaurants, they do like bring your own catch and we'll cook it for you. I bet they do that there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, just looking at it, it says at the very top or on the sign, it says like seafood market something. I gotta check it out. It was something like that. Seafood market open Wednesday through Sunday.
And I know.
So
Jake, Jim Bussey is obviously like the iconic owner of Seafood Atlantic, but he's actually a co-owner. Of course, we know the other co-owner, right?
Oh, you already know that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and he actually teaches at our school. He's really awesome.
Yes.
Mr. Allen, I'm sure many of you listeners have actually taken Mr. Allen's class. Sedimentology, Intro to Sedimentology, AP Sedimentology. Such a good class. And Jake, I was actually going to ask you, did you submit the homework that we had last night? Because I think he said he was going to delay it.
Oh, yeah, I did. I turned it in, like, the online submission.
Right.
So, because usually, you know how sometimes he does it early and you get, like, a few extra credit points or a sticker or something?
Yeah, a sticker.
That's what I got.
Did you, what'd you get for, like, that first segment with, like, the matching? I was really confused about, like, the whole concrete segment with, like, the photosynthesis of it or something.
Oh, yeah. So, I think the first question was, concrete is the most used material in the world. And then, it was like the true or false question for number 2. It said, are concrete and cement the same? And it was false. It was no.
Yeah, definitely.
And then
you listed the, like the ingredients and the percent, like, of each ingredient mixed into those, like, concrete and cement, right?
Yeah. Let me just grab the answers quick.
I know he wrote on my paper, he said nice, and like his pen, his pen. But okay, that's good that you got the same answers. I was a little worried about that, especially after the plateau unit. I think all of us.
Oh yeah,
the plateau unit was really difficult.
I mean that crash and burned like
and it was straight out of Christmas break. Everyone was not ready to be back in school. Of course, Mr. Allen's a really good teacher. He's really fun, but the plateau unit. Oh, that was.
I think everybody.
Bad.
That was like a wake up call, kind of. You think about it.
Definitely. Like before the break, we were still covering like igneous, all those like basic sedimentology, like the study of dirt, everything like that. But when we came out and we started doing the plateaus right after break, the whole Mesa Verde segment was pretty hard. And I know we just had a big exam, and I included some of that stuff after our group projects. But I think we all did pretty well on that exam.
I think I got a 98. I just missed something for the.
That's great. Yeah.
I think it was the essay. Had something. I forgot what it was, but
yeah, it was definitely a really difficult exam, but I think all of us did pretty well on it. He's really good at teaching the subject matter, especially like hands-on, like his dirt days. I mean, come on. His dirt days are great, right?
I mean, dirt days are like, I think they're the most, outside of sports and everything, they're probably the most popular thing to do in school. Like, everybody's
definitely,
like,
for sure.
I mean, that's like the word around the block. Like, when there's a dirt day, everybody knows it's going to be a dirt day.
Come on. It's like the coolest type of lab. Everyone goes outside, digs around in the dirt, documents their findings. It's just so fun. I mean, who doesn't love going outside and digging around in the dirt?
For sure.
When I hear there's a dirt day, it just brightens my day. And yeah, what were you going to say about that?
Oh yeah, going back to Seafood Atlantic, I was finding it. So what Mr. Allen and Jim had, so I'm looking at the menu for their lunch menu. Their most popular item is the Canaveral po' boy. So it's local Canaveral white shrimp cooked to perfection and placed on toasted French bread with lettuce, tomato, coleslaw, and tartar sauce, and sautéed with onions and jalapenos.
Man, that sounds absolutely delicious. You know, I'm not much big of a shrimp guy, but I would eat that because it's from Seafood Atlantic.
I got even more, another crazy thing.
Oh, do tell.
I was looking down. They have buckets that you can buy. So you can buy buckets of different kinds of seafood. And so there are three of them, mostly the big three, right? So there's snow crab, 3 pounds of jumbo snow crab legs, a clam bucket, 100 middle neck hard shell clams.
Oh, wow.
Blue crab bucket, around a dozen blue crabs, depending on size, with Old Bay or plain seasoning. And then the shrimp bucket, 3 pounds of Canaveral Royal Red or Rock Shrimp. Speaking of rocks and mythology.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's like thought it was funny.
I still have a few extra rocks, like from one of those dirt days back in the first quarter. I have them in my bedroom still. Like that big, orange one we dug up behind, like, Mr. Rozier's classroom.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Allen gave me a fossil sticker for that one. That was really a great find.
That was really cool. Yeah.
Hey, man, have you seen Mr. Allen's new gaming chair? I mean, like, we have to mention that. In his classroom, it's so cool.
Wow. I mean,
the LEDs.
That is, his gaming chair. So, for everybody listening to it, Mr. Allen it's a red and black gaming chair. And then on the sides of the gaming chair, like where the armrests are, it's all decked out in LED light tape. And then probably where, like, the neck rest or the headrest, there's 2 speakers in there, and they have, like, a big subwoofer.
Yeah,
so sometimes he plays music out of there. It's pretty cool. And then, as well as his mouse, he's like a gaming mouse. So I think it's a 6-button mouse. So, I mean, that's like something that like Ninja would use.
Yeah, exactly. You know, out of those chair speakers, I heard him playing some Maricoon the other day. I mean, like, you know, he usually plays like AC/DC, some stuff like that. But I recommend Maricoon. Yeah. You know, last month when he came to the feast, and he was like, "Oh, these songs are actually good," like from Cash's speaker. And I think he's listening to them now. I think he, he told me he ordered some Maricoon merch. I think we should all go to a Maricoon concert together. That'll be really fun. Invite Mr. Allen.
Oh yeah, I think he'll be like the chaperone. Like, you know how all like usually during spring break, which we just had, there was, you know, if you like, I want to say 5 teachers went to Europe.
Right. London,
Paris, Rome, and then so I was like, why not just bring him with, you know, 7 other kids and we all go to a concert?
And I think actually he had the idea. He mentioned to me that like next year he might want to chaperone for a school spring break trip to Nigeria to actually go to one of Maricoon's concerts there, and then we can actually go to Lagos and tour the city. Try not to get shot, you know.
That would be tough. Lagos is, I want to say, one of the most dangerous cities in Africa, if not the world. I think the countries that, or the cities that beat crime is probably Paris and Moscow, and probably like a major city in Yemen.
Right, definitely.
Because, I mean, Yemen's got all that civil war going on with a bunch of stuff, or Syria.
But, you know, I trust Mr. Allen as a chaperone to protect us from all of that, especially in Lagos.
I definitely do. I mean,
there's just an aura about him that gives off such, like, cool vibes. And you also know, like, don't mess with him. He used to be a running back for Kent State University, of course, and before he
Don't forget the track coach.
Yep, exactly. I remember I tried racing him 2 weeks ago for some extra credit. Of course, I didn't win. I don't remember the last time someone actually beat him in a race, but it was worth a shot and it's pretty fun.
I think there was, I want to say, now just thinking about it, I think it was 8 years ago was the last time he got beat. I think he got beat in like 2016.
Yeah, I heard about that.
By one of those, I think it was a track star, but he eventually went D1 to, I want to say, like Ohio State. So, I mean, it was
wow, yeah.
I mean, Mr. Allen, I wouldn't say he's getting old, but I mean, he's still in amazing shape. But
yeah,
going against an athlete who is getting recruited by top schools, I mean, there isn't very much you can do.
Yeah, I could see how he would have, maybe it was like, wasn't one of his best days and this guy beat him because he was so good. But generally, he's like really, really good runner. I remember there was that whole article in the Growl, the HT magazine, about Mr. Allen and how he went from his like running back days to track and his part-time job at Seafood Atlantic as a co-owner and also teaching. You know, he has quite the resume.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's kind of like him and Murmur, you know, neck on neck of who has a better job. Or
those
resume,
guys are pretty iconic
for sure.
You know, I think they're starting to hang out more together because their classrooms are really close. I think I saw them at Hemingway's Tavern. They were I met both of them there. I got a picture.
I know. Oh, for real? I didn't even see it.
Yeah, they were at the bar getting drinks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
You just going there with their family and you saw them in there? That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, you know, of course, I didn't want to go. I didn't go over bothering them, but I took a picture.
Who was the other guy? I know. Meg O'Malley's is a big spot for.
Definitely. You know, I've seen Mr. McGinnis there, of course.
I've seen McGinnis and Cattell there. You know, having a little
definitely
drinky drink.
That's all you get. Go stand behind my truck. Definitely.
That's all you get.
And we've stood behind his truck. It's certainly an experience.
I mean, it's like this eighth wonder of the world. I mean,
definitely. But yeah, thanks for listening to the Pregame Podcast. Of course, in the future, it's only going to get better. We're going to have all these interviews, all these people come in. It's going to be great, so make sure you stay tuned. If you enjoyed, let us know on our socials, you know, our YouTube channel, our Twitter, you know, all the pregame stuff. But yeah, anything else you want to say, Jake?
I don't got much. Just stay safe out there.
Definitely.
We love you.
Of Lagos. Merkum, baby.
Yeah.